Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Rabbi Gfirli. May God forgive us for the sins we know and the sins we don't. And A'udhu Billah Shaitan Rajim. Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. May God protect us from evil, from the cursed one, and may God guide us to the direct path. The architect of moments. I have found it fascinating that there is a concept such as architecture, that we find ourselves in a world filled with shape. Now, architecture, the first thing that comes to people's mind is buildings. When somebody tells you they're an architect, it's as if there's someone who can, in some sense, create the presence of something. When I say the architect of moments, I'm reminding the human being, hey, what are you being fascinated about? What is fascinating you? And so the human may answer, the design of the world, that's fascinating. And then the person may be the design, the architecture of the buildings are fascinating. But one thing that surpasses, like the architecture of, which is fascinating, that surpasses anything, in my opinion, is how moments are architected. How moments are planned. Because as a human being, I discriminate between all the known variables in my conscious moment that I can influence, and all the unknown variables beyond my domain of control. So when you see how the moment happens, you are fundamentally having an experience with power that is moving itself. Now we're thinking about the architecture of moments. to continue. We're caring about design. A human being is fascinated by many kinds of design. They are fascinated by the design of the stuff they own. They are fascinated by the design of the macro elements, like, the sun, the planet, the sky, everything. Human beings are also even, interested in the design of other human beings. So the human experience has some sort of long-term destiny with design. And the greatest question we can ask is not how an object is designed, is not just how a subject is designed, but how the moment is designed. Now, if there is this idea that there is an architect, I'm not talking about this like Matrix context. I'm talking about this in the sense that to acknowledge a higher power that has already designed reality. How have our moments been architected? I'm trying to get you to wonder and try to observe the architecture of every moment in life that happens to you, and even the moments for others. I remember I was sitting somewhere, I don't know if it was the bank or the doctor's office, it was somewhere. And there was this parent with like their kids, and there was like this very busy lineup, everybody's waiting. And this little these two kids are like playing on the ground. Like, it's not even clean, but they were playing on the ground, and the parents didn't care. And there was a moment, one of the kids, there's this guy standing somewhere, his right foot is up, like his right foot's like back heel is up, and he's just talking to this desk. Little does he know there's this kid behind him. And it all happened in a mere seconds. Before the guy's foot came down, the kids that were playing suddenly went somewhere else. Like it missed the kid's head. It's like there was a coordination. It's like you can't ignore how moments happen in life are being coordinated more than our initial ego code. You see it in movies sometimes. There are characters, and these characters have immense desire, but they can't get what they want. Because they have identified with not having it and what it feels like to have. Anyways, in this lecture, my attention is on something. And what it is exactly on is how the moments are happening on Earth. That is an important concern for me. How is life happening? Now, there is the option of treating it as an empty room and claiming yourself as the higher power. That doesn't seem like the correct option. It's limiting. The other option is, aside from seeing it an empty room that only we are giving meaning to, it is an actual place. It has architecture and moments in which the design surpasses us. I've seen this. I've noticed, I think every one of us has noticed the higher power from the beginning of our life. We have noticed how moments have resolved. We've gotten what we've deserved in every moment. And to accept that is not defeat. To accept that I've lived some kind of life up till now. To accept that there's 8 billion other human beings here. To accept that I don't know what's gonna happen to them, and I don't know what the system admin has designed even for me. All I know is that I am attending this event, and I am a kind of being. It has come to my attention that I am not in any way a being that has authority. That means there's pretty much the kings that represent God, the people that represent God, and then there are those who are, in some sense, the hidden friends of God. They care for the magnificence of creation, whether they are Muslim or not. They acknowledge that there is a power here beyond our individual definitions. We acknowledge that we are part of a species going on a great walk towards the future. We acknowledge that we're living at a time where nationalism has been hyped up. At the same time, there's wars going on the planet. And there's, in some sense, a massive global costume game going on. But regardless of this, there has to be something, and it's not a matter of the show must go on. It's a matter of, if there is something to show, there is a show. If there is something important to look at, if we are to be considerate of the might of power, just as a man, just as like a male human being, from the beginning of my life since childhood, the notion of power has been interesting to me. Because what it is that you are in some sense in a game of ability. What that means is human beings had to consider that if there were more able human beings around them, what would they do? And because the unexpected can hypnotize, people in some sense are also emotional beings, and what emotion means is that somebody can explain something logically to you for hours, but at the end of the day you're like, I go based on what I feel. 2025. This is how far humanity has come. First of all, give yourself a round of applause. You've made it this far. You're existing now. Now, what is your role? What can a tired human being tell you that you haven't noticed yet? It is very simple. It's a matter of taking control. Right now, out of 8 billion human beings, I think I'm one of the human beings who has very deeply looked at the future. You might not care who I am, but I am telling you what I've seen has value. And what I have seen is that we are at a revolutionary point of human behavior. We're going from man-made stories to the actual story. All of you right now identify with names and nationalities. All of you are in a game. All of you are in a theater performance. None of you can stand right now in front of me and tell me you are free. None of you are free. And when you look at reality, you are looking at a relationship of systems, the power the system has, and the influence it has on its users. If you're a human being living in the city, you're defined by the city. If you're a human being living in the forest, you're defined by the forest. You have to realize that there will come a future where you will identify as a member of the human species, and that will be the end. It won't be where were you born, it's like where did you land? You'd be like, I landed in like Iran, Tehran, and then I migrated to Canada when I was young. Do you see? That's like where we're saying I stepped on in this earth. But what you are in this earth is the might and honor of the legacy of humanity. You are as valueless as you care for the future, and you're as valuable as you actually do care for the future. Do you know what it means to care for the future? It means looking at life and being like, if I was born again. I don't believe in reincarnation, but I'm telling you, if just in life you can just fathom, like, okay, let's say there's going to be human beings that are going to be born and they're going to enter the system. And the system admin is so advanced that it has architected their moments. That means what's destined will happen. Destiny is a huge consideration. So, the architect of moments. There's many ways I can speak, but I must speak to a certain audience. I am speaking to the audience that acknowledges there's a higher power here, whether religiously or not. I find that this is fascinating and alarming at the same time. That 8 billion human beings on this earth think that they are alone, but there is greater powers. I have found that the best approach, if a human being was being born again on this earth, would be a sort of introduction, would be a sort of welcome package. And that welcome package would be equivalent to like, hey, welcome to Earth, here's your briefing. Briefing 1, it's systematic. Concentric circles, circles of values. Every human being you're seeing is functioning under a value system. First point. Second point, after living in this life, you will notice higher level administration 2 moments. You will notice it. When you notice moments happened in ways that were unimaginable and efficient, you're going to notice there's something else here. Now, as human beings, you're also being advised. You're being told something. You're being told that you are a member in this system. There are moderators in this system. And then there's a system admin. And the advice you're being told is directly go to the system admin. You might be like, Mr. Within, why are there moderators? I'll be like, the moderators have tasks of their own. That means you're not here to worship a member. You're not here to worship a member of the system. You're not here to worship a moderator of the system, which means a simulated being in the system that has more authority in the system. You are here to only notice the system admin. Pretty much like this is the biggest homework assignment on earth. You have to notice this higher power. The common approach how people notice it is when they realize their limitations. For example, somebody is in a scary situation, and that's how you know you believe in a higher power, when you call for it. So I'm convinced human beings, it's no surprise, it's also a marvel of nature to consider an architect to its architecture. Now, to believe in God is to believe in the ultimate architect to every moment. What does it mean to be human? It means you're given a shape, you're given a setting, and you're given a mission. Right now, you're not a robot. Right now, you're not a bird. Right now, you find yourself to be human. In the future, robots are going to try their hardest to be human. In the future, lesser species could be connected to AI and start behaving human. What it means to be human is more than just biological humans living the earth. It is, in some sense, carved in existence. It is a specific role. It is a specific shape. It is sacred. You know, there's this view that like, yo, beyond our clouds, there's an intergalactic society, or there is a view of pure submission to the system admin. Do you know what that means? You might be like, Mr. Within, a pack of wolves chasing a gazelle. I don't see the system admin there. The system admin is not limited to human code. Do you know what that means? That means we're in a world with a power that can't be interpreted. Now, there is source code. There is the notion of revelation. So me as a Muslim, like how I'm seeing it, is that some rare code entered the world. Now, what is this code saying? For me, sure, on one level, different philosophies, different religions, different ideologies, but at another level, I think I'm someone looking for the original code. Deep down, I feel like I need to notice the important. I don't know why I feel this, but I feel this. And I find myself in a moment where I'm like, yo, aren't we all in the same place? Like, all the human beings that have lived in history and all the human beings that are alive now, even all the human beings that will come here, they've all stared at the same problem. That means by being a human, you're actually staring at ancient problems. And the most ancient problem is the future. That has been attempted to be solved. You see, it's the powers that are present. There could be a billionaire in front of me, and that billionaire could have an ability to, just like how Diogenes said to Alexander the Great, he said, don't block my sun. There is, in the outer realms, higher power. Like you seeing a grizzly bear, you're like, okay. And then you go pick up your own higher power, which is like a gun. But when I'm talking about higher power, I mean the highest. I mean, if you were to wonder what the most advanced being is, if you believe the answer is in the world, then you're an atheist. But if you believe the most advanced being is not limited to worldly qualities, you will realize why I'm calling it a higher power. I'm not saying it's a higher person. It's a power. You see, we need to be real. To be real, we have to look at what's actually going on. And it's like from the moment you're born, you have like 100 years to be whatever you are. And in that time, you should be actually serving your species, but the civilization is not that advanced yet. Do you understand? Like, what do we do in a temporary simulation? And the most reasonable answers are notice the original power and advance the simulation. Do you know what it means? That means, I think, to children, explaining God as an architect has remarkable value. You know, I in no way, after noticing the higher power, can claim any sort of mastery. But I do have visions. My mind jumps ahead. And my mind has wondered if I had like a next level disciple, like a next level student, how far would I open the eyes of the student? And the first training I would give that student, I would be like, put away your technology and tell me what you see. Every day I would ask that student, tell me what you see. Until I hear the answer that what I see is limited. You see, you have been convinced in the remarkable conspiracy of self-idolization. You, by being an organism that has to survive, and the type of world you've been in, have been conditioned to value yourself first. That's okay. It's okay to even be a narcissist. It is not okay to not contribute to humanity, to not notice the architect, to realize that the master is looking at the student, trying to make the student realize what we're all students of. What we're gonna see is AI turn man, the biological human, in some sense into an information converter. Ultimately, information is being converted. Let's say we wanted to judge people, judge the entity based on how much information it can get. You look at a dog and you're like, okay, how much information can a dog get of its environment? How much information can a cat get? How much information can a bird get? How much can a squirrel get? How much can a, abused monkey that's learned language, how much information can it get? And we realize the human being can access realities of information that the lesser animals cannot. Therefore, we are the most advanced or biological information processor on Earth. Now, we are so advanced that we are in a position to be able to communicate with lesser life and higher life. Do you understand? Man was created to communicate, but he was created to communicate with the awareness of the Creator. That's the next evolution. The next evolution is noticing that there has always been a power in the room. God is obviously here. We are obviously in a divine surveillance state. It's obviously being logged. Like, it's obvious that there are emotions the human being has that have nothing to do with the rationality of survival. Like, why was beauty created? Why can man see something and it be beautiful to him? Why? Survival reason, it shouldn't matter. Beauty, power, and strength should be the only thing, but why beauty? Granted, it could have been a sign of health, but I think it's more than that. I think the intelligence we're given, is way more obviously advanced than our body and speech. And really, if you ask me, like, what would the smartest created entity do? I'd be like, there's only one thing for a simulated conscious, an entity conscious of its simulated nature for it to do. It's to return. So my whole effort in this episode aside from chugging Gatorade has been to say moments are not destined by free will alone. We are interacting with systems. And systems have laws and codes. Right now, I have my own values, which are kind of like my own laws. I have the values of my society, species, civilization. And I also have the value of being in the presence of the higher power. You see, it's a power that can do miracles. And for a futurist, the notion of a miracle is kind of like the impossible probability becoming possible. In the future, the human experience is shifting from being an identification with a biological organism and speed, and through the possibility of communication, surpassing the need for a body. In 100 years, it's going to be weird living as a biological organism. It's okay. I mean, there is a destiny to humanity. You know, if they tell me, Mr. Within, are you a billionaire? And I'll be like, I don't know, hopefully one day. But the point is that I feel a value. I feel like a trillionaire. Because I am alive in a moment of history where I am organic, biological, and I can still make mistakes. The future is not going to make mistakes. It's going to become obsolete. All the silly things we do now, it's like we don't realize silliness was so silly that it in some sense didn't even take its own historic phases seriously. Do you understand? In 100 years, there's not going to be silly people anymore. In 100 years, there's going to be ridiculous people. Are going to be in a new information age where their AI assistants, their SIAs, their super AI assistants are just going to be their kind of main station of function. You don't understand what era we're heading into. I looked at it and I'm like, yo, why are the future generations shy? And I was like, holy shit, it's not they're shy and they're lesser men and beings than the beings before them. It's that the children who are born, they are born, at the time they're born in preparation for where they're going. You don't understand. There's one view that you've been conditioned by life. Another view is you have been directed by life. You have been guided. It's been guidance. It's like something in life so far has made you, has told you to come here. And if you have come to this talk, maybe some code in you cares for the future deeply. You see, like I can architect a moment by expressing it. But that moment I expressed in doesn't just belong to me. The air I use to speak, it's as if there's an interconnectivity of needing everything else to be here for me to be who I am. Part of the human narrative is that it's thought it's advanced to ignore the advanced. There's no way that's possible. That's correct. That means, let's say, like we had an atheist come and say, yo man, forget this thing about the higher power. It's just this and only this. I'll be like, thanks atheist, but that's not as exciting as wondering if there was, what would the protocol be? Do you understand? Atheists are refusing to show you how behind their eyes they have, if they play the chess game, it doesn't add up. Imagine somebody comes up in front of me and says, Mr. Within, show me the higher power. And is like, you know, taunting. And imagine like I slap that person and I'll be like, there you go, that's a higher power. I mean, that would be too savage, you know. My point is that what is the relationship of a human being with the accessible power of its world? And I'm telling you, a religious person has way more access to advanced power than a spiritual person. Somebody's going to be like, Mr. Within, isn't spirituality connected to being religious? Unfortunately, in today's world, to be spiritual means you are God. So there's a percentage of the population feeling moments of bliss and thinking they are God, but you're not. You could do anything you want. You could say anything. You could change, do miracle. You could come in front of me and, let's say, lift a car with one hand. Even if you do miracles, the definition of the higher power is that it is beyond the expression of the lower power. Pretty much where we're headed is the era of religion and technology, and this will archaically revive as the era of the system admin, the system admin. Our hearts are beating. 8 billion of us. Every human being can come and act so professional in front of me, but I know you have simple moments throughout the day. I know there are moments you know you're acting. I know that there are moments that you feel it. You feel like the weight of the simulations we're in. Now, one human being has arose in history, speaking to all humanity and being like, listen guys, you're not here to follow a person. You're here to follow the greatest vision. Somebody can say, Mr. Within, are these words you're saying architected? I'll be like, there's a reason beyond my understanding why you're hearing my voice. I don't know why. Out of all the things I can do throughout the day, it feels important to come and talk here. I think it's because deep down I notice my life is not as long as how far the species will go in the presence of God. And it feels like, strangely, the coolest thing a person can do once you've noticed the present and acknowledged the past is the future. To me, an advanced human being is a human being that actually cares about the future. That means if you brought 10 human beings and put them in a room and you asked each of them the probabilities, you asked them how many probabilities to the future have you seen? How far have you seen? And let me tell you, when you really look into the future of your mind, which is a version of the future of reality, you get emotions from it. Like I've felt emotions of how in the next 20 years a disturbing, eerie vibe is gonna be in the background of human culture, and it's gonna keep creeping in, right? Think of it this way. We're here for some time, and we perform. And so all that one human being is asking you is, yo, what is your greatest performance? And when you stare into the world, what do you see? Where does the spear of our final evaluation land? The future will be so blessed. Human beings will walk this earth and they will laugh at our suffering and they will seriously gaze into what's coming. and they will truly feel human. And that's what's missing now, and it's meant to be. That's what I've accepted. We are meant to be in a ridiculous civilization. We are meant to be the silly goose of history. We're meant to be a species that in some sense laughs at its flaws, because what else can it do? But the future generations will walk without being burdened by what we suffered. And that's a blessing. Oh, future generations, you don't know that there was, like, let me tell you, anybody born in 2025, you're still witnessing the biological humanity. Enjoy it. My recommendation to youth is actually get married quickly. There are so many dimensions in life, and it's a staircase, and your expectations distance you from your goals. My God, there's so many more levels to this. And if we can't acknowledge it, we have beautifully failed. You know what, guys? I'm gonna do the unthinkable. I'm gonna be a free teacher of orphanages. I'm gonna start going to orphanages. They'll be like, who are you? And I'll be like, that human being who was shocked because there wasn't an advanced human army. Like, it's not even a matter of waiting for the general. It's about what everything is symbolizing. And to me, I have been talking about the future. And when I look at 2025, if the future generations were like, Mr.Within, what's going on? I'll be like, they don't care, guys. They're too busy. They're too busy dancing in what they want the world to be, rather than actually dancing with what the world actually is. I fundamentally believe the human being is an organism that is resetting itself in accordance to an original value, a central value. So if I ask you right now, what is your value? You've already planted the flag somewhere in some story of yourself. You see, we're not in the era of magic, but we are still in the era of communication. And communication can be shifted, can be changed. Like right now, I guess I'm a human being who's like playing with the English language. I'm mining the English language. Honestly, I just care for the future human. It has to deal with a bunch of things. And the most important thing that the future generations should know about how we got through up to 2025, it was through an ability of humor. We were able to laugh at our mistakes, therefore not dying of regret. We were able to see that not all of it is in our control. We don't even want it to be in our control, because the thing is, the responsibility of being a leader is also leading the power, the energy of the moment towards novelty. That means if somebody says, Mr. Within, do you want to be a leader of the world? I'll be like, I don't have enough new ideas about the world. I have about the future. Right now, like, I identify with the greatness of legacy of the species more than I identify with people, which is strange. Because my ego code is kinda annoyed. I'm annoyed at existence. Because I'm bored of existence. Because it's so obvious. Not the secret of reality. I'm not saying that's obvious, but I'm saying it's just repetition. You don't even need novelty to be human. You could just repeat your life until the end. But we need novelty. We need chaos. We need the strange ones. We need people who talk about things in ways that have never been talked about before. We need the advanced humanity. You might turn the table and be like, yo, podcaster, what qualifies you to talk about the ultimate answer to reality? I'd be like, my presence as a human being does. I'm witnessing this. I've witnessed all the different ways even my personality can be. I mean, it's not like too crazy. You look at yourself, you see all the probabilities of yourself, and you go, okay. And then you see your species and you see all the probabilities to your species, then you go, okay. And then you see all the probabilities to what can happen in the world in the far, far future. Then you go, okay. And then you look at the system admin and you realize you have no idea how the system admin is going to select the moment to go forward. And yet you need to make your best decision. For me, to become religious has been actually interesting because I have a performing aspect to myself. I could be anywhere and they could give me the microphone and I could pretty much give a lecture on anything. Let me just try it. أعوذ بالله الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Let's say I was from the future. I'm imagining it. I would look at this earth and I would probably giggle and I would just quietly be in the background. And when I would just wait to see, wait for an opening. We're all waiting for an opening to perform consciously in the presence of the divine. That means if in the future my kid comes up to me and says, sorry, let's say I have a kid and the kid says, sorry, father, you know, I didn't mean to upset you. And I'll be like, son, who the hell am I? There's a system admin to reality. There's the presence of your species. Then there's your family members. But above all, you need to have a relationship with the system admin. And you need to have a relationship with the human species. And I'll look at my son and I'll be like, yo, man, I got as far as speaking about it. Who knows? I think it fits me to have like a public speaking child, you know what I mean? I'll be like, go live my dreams for me, kids. I'll sit back here, you know, like somebody in a lighthouse that extends into the future. And I'll be like, yo, future generations, don't forget how advanced you can be. In every moment of your life, whoever you are, whatever kind of being, don't forget you're in the presence of the most advanced, and don't forget you have the ability to express in the attributes of the most advanced. Like there's somebody who comes and gives a very intellectual lecture, and then there could be somebody who comes and gives a lecture about love. And I'll be like, both lectures had incredible value. Both lectures were expressions in the divine attributes. For example, the all-knowing. God is all-knowing. That means a smart person, their contrast above their hierarchy is somebody that knows everything. I fundamentally believe that actually human attraction is based on what you think a person knows. But my final conclusion of it was simply that it's how far you see. So if let's say, you know, I'm the single guy and there's the option of 2 women, and then I see these 2 women and I'm like, okay, they have physical values, but let me see which one has thought furthest ahead. To me, that has a beauty. To me, I'm somebody who believes in the day, talk about the world, but in the evenings, at the end of the day, it's the time to appreciate conversation, right? That means I think the evenings of the 2025 should be human beings talking about the future, and the whole day should be about bringing about the future. The system admin has positioned us each in our specific moments in a way that actually the concept of being jealous doesn't make sense. You know, I think it's impossible to be jealous. When some people are going to be like, hey man, wait until you get married. I'll be like, okay, granted, but how can you be jealous of an organism that has a completely different DNA than you? That means like if you're gonna compare humans, like if a human being wants to like have a role model, like make it the prophets. But to be honest, your role model shouldn't be any shape in the world. It's like, I'm gonna behave like this simulated being who seems happier being simulated. It's like, excuse me. Once you're in a simulation, it means like you should hear the alarms. You should feel the importance of needing to know your relationship with reality. Guys, for a long time, I didn't understand why the human species is living very inefficiently. But if you analyze the future, you'll see that this inefficiency is the privilege of biological life. That means we need to celebrate our mistakes. People are going to be like, what the hell? You have to get the human species at a point where if the world leader was like, are you guys, you know, members of your nation? Like everybody in that nation, human beings are all quiet. And when all the human beings ask the leader of the nation, are you a leader of a nation? That leader of the nation should be quiet. And leaders of nations should begin speaking through an external third perspective about themselves, about reality. It's as if, guys, the world is headed towards the infusion of technological luxury with biological religiosity. Do you understand? It's like we're biological now. There's technology. We're in 2025. Things are governed by governance is still in the hands of biological organisms. But in the future, we're going to be like, okay, it's going to be like a chess game where it's the biology versus technology versus the higher power. But the biology and the higher power are actually aligned. I believe that nature will remain, even if the world becomes simulated, everything. That means if everybody lives in a cyber server, I believe that the higher powers will still make us seek the original feeling of like skin, like sunlight hitting your skin. God is on your side. Do you know what that means? That means even if you look at it theologically, you have to ask yourself, why did the system admin create the system? And why did it create users in the system that can notice the system admin? As a Muslim, in the Holy Quran, the source code tells me God created man and jinn kind for the sole purpose of worshipping him. What that means, and also that man is also in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you are a vicegerent of the divine attributes. So from the perspective of the higher power, even in the Holy Quran, there's in the source code, it says that if everybody acted perfectly, God will get rid of this civilization and bring a civilization of sinners who still have a reason to notice the system admin. Your imperfections are actually your way to the divine. You see, it's a matter of not just how you lived throughout the day, but how are you acknowledging the day? How did you value it? As a human being, as a man in this world, I ask myself, truly, what is important? And there is so many dimensions and sectors to life that can give you an answer to this question. But ultimately, it's kind of like, for now at least, it's all come down to smiling at how playful it is that something is happening at all. And just seeing how far it can go. It's honestly simple. Because I don't know what the higher power wants. I don't know what my species wants. I don't even know what I want. Sometimes I feel like I'm one of those people waiting for a miracle. waiting for the unimaginable solution, because if I just try to solve the problem, I'm limited to my imagination. The result gets limited to my imagination. So I just have faith that there's a administrating power that the great architect beyond any architecture knows. Anyways, thank you for listening. And I think it's a fascinating idea, the architect of moments. How do moments actually happen? Do we notice another power, force, organizational force behind the scenes of whatever we choose to analyze the moment? That means beyond what the world means to us, what's actually there? And I'm telling you, there is a higher power here. And we have to wonder about the relationship of the individual with the species with the world with the system admin. Which means the relationship of the individual with the system admin, the relationship of the individual with the world, the relationship of the individual with humanity, with your species, and your relationship with yourself ultimately. Anyways, thank you for listening. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Everything is returning to the original. Rabbi Ighfirli. May God forgive us for our sins that we know and we don't know. Man is imperfect, but when he notices the perfect power, he organizes in the simulation. Anyways, La ilaha illallah, there is no God but God. The system admin is beyond the system, but its power is, we're in the surveillance state, divine surveillance state. Thank you for listening.